Hi there. I've been busy with my website, Climate Babes, and other projects. And the Climate Babe Quest movie is still not done, but let's say the response is very positive, and I'm gathering volunteers to participate. So I hope to have that delivered as soon as possible. There's a lot of things going on at the moment that are really signaling that the situation is coming to a head for the US. Geithner is losing control over whether the debt ceiling will be instated or not. It is politicized to the max, but foreigners don't really buy all that crap. They are simply shifting to exchanging goods and services in their own currencies and providing credit to each other, and cutting themselves out of the global food market and things like that. And it really demands, let's say, if you think about it, you would have to take some very harsh measures in the US in order to make sure that everybody will, let's say, be optimally healthy as far as it's possible to achieve it. And without analyzing too much the situation with the bankers and the government and the way that, this does require at a certain point things that completely infringe on the freedom of the Americans. And let's say the criticism I've always had to Alex Jones, for which reason I basically called him a shill, is that he doesn't make a distinction between, let's say, audience drawing information or news or hubris or hype that he can create that is simply, stressing for his audience, which the audience of Alex Jones likes, or truthful. He doesn't really make a big distinction. And within his messages about big developments found out by this and that person, all conjecture and sometimes simply guesses, there is real stuff. But the end result is that the audience is completely averse to government intervention and government stepping up to do something. While people like Max Keiser, who I if he talks about mayhem and crises, it's usually financial, so he basically focus on that topic, but it's also never, in my mind, or the way I perceive it, exaggerated. Not at all. If he calls for hanging of bankers, that would be a fair punishment for people that cause other people to die, and not one or two, but I guess thousands of people have died in the US and are dying in the UK as a result of the behavior of the bankers, and are dying in the world. Let's not forget all the countries that have been milked and depleted and ravaged by the London banking establishment. It sounds harsh, but it is not harsh if you compare it to the cost, which is very hard to see for people that stop thinking when they see a decent person. I just recently saw a comment on Facebook where it was about somebody saying, well, it's good that we are now discussing xenophobia in Holland and basically trying to reduce the intervention of the government, blah, 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 blah. And I point out that this is just a guy trying to reduce intervention of the government so that the industry can have its way with the Dutch people, and that whatever social security you eliminate will not come back ever in the current circumstances. And then somebody comments, "What? He's a decent guy." Mengele was a very decent guy. Complete psychopaths can be extremely decent. That is one of the characteristics of psychopaths, is that you don't notice anything about them. Only fact is that, and that they usually know themselves they are psychopaths, so they are doing immoral things, but they don't have a feeling with it, so they don't care. They simply do them. They just know that it's practically not very wise to do psychotic and murderous things when everybody notices, so normally they behave very decent. That's the scary part about it. But what Alex Jones does is he makes it impossible to control people and to manage them, and there's a real need. So if my scenario at the moment would be to immediately so the scenario is that there will be riots close to Washington and Wall Street, and they will wash over these two areas. But they're not spontaneous riots; they're artificial riots, because spontaneous riots you cannot predict what happens. Artificial riots you can. So which allows basically Obama, in conjunction with the Pentagon, to take control of these two areas of so basically in state martial law over the country, which Alex Jones would go crazy, would explode. Martial law, FEMA camps, coffins, and well, okay. Of course, if everybody pulls out their gun and tries to join in, then people are going to get killed. So smart people don't do that. But the result is that you can take hold of the government, which is now controlled by the industry, which is a murderous clique, which is basically about to eliminate every law that is there to protect human lives that's in existence, and is planning to frack the hell out of the US, which means that your groundwater cannot be drunken anymore, or it's radioactive, and then go ahead and mine the gas of the South Pole, which will completely pull the switch for climate change. It's done. You're done. This evolutionary, let's say, evolutionary shift is over. You can forget about it, because they make money doing that, and because they don't care. They don't have any conscience. They don't. The only way that they calculate human cost is that they have to insure against it, and then the money's not there. So they have to be removed. You cannot remove them through the political system, because it is just completely impregnated with corrupt people. So what you have to do is start a riot, wash them over Washington and Wall Street, instate martial law, restrict energy consumption to the utter bare minimum for cars and for local transportation, start securing the food supply, which means that you give people a choice: either you have no food or you start working for it somewhere. So that means relocating them, which means transporting them. Everybody with a gun in that process that is a little bit dumb will resist, and do all kinds of stuff, like create camps where you teach people how to make renewable energy sources, how to install them. They don't have to be prison camps, of course, but teach them something so they can help themselves, and then give them a chance. I guess that is, and let's say the way the Pentagon looks at it from my perspective, there's two sides of it. One is the industry side of the Pentagon, which will soon die, because the whole dollar story will be over. And they won't get the fuel, so it's mayhem, and then somebody has to step up with morality. Somebody has to step up, which says, well, it's a bit of a problem. If so many people are going to perish, let's make sure that some people don't perish. Some people that would otherwise perish if you simply let the things go. And so they will be in charge. It will not be the people that try to make as much rubber boots as possible. And things will have to happen that that people don't like. You see, if you are now an American with a big shotgun and you have a big car in front of your lawn, and you're trying to eat steak every day, and you're one of those people that buys the cologne made from bacon cologne, which actually exists. Which, by the way, of course, is there's two reasons for bacon cologne and the promotion of bacon and barbecuing. One is that it makes a shitload of money, and it requires using a lot of oil, which basically turns the oil into money. And the other is that it hides the fact that your environment is polluted, because if you're eating bacon, you're putting so much pollution in your body and carcinogens in your body as a matter of habit that you don't notice pollution. So if there's a greasy truck in your street or something like that, or somebody's dumping waste next to your village, you won't notice it because your senses are completely numb. So that's why the bacon thing is going on. But people that do that and then say, well, don't mess with my freedom, they can fuck off. They can fuck off. They're completely useless slobs. That's what they are. People that want to survive are lean, agile, knowledgeable, interested, turned on, switched on to solutions. They usually hate people that waste energy, that waste time, that waste their time on talking about nonsense. And those people will survive. There's no problem with that. And they will be in charge. And the fat slob with the gun will not be in charge. And you can listen to Alex Jones and say, well, they'll put me in a FEMA camp. Yes, if you behave like a mad cow, if you behave like a complete moron, if you try to, that's like, give me my couch. I want to sit on my couch and develop my cardiac arrest situation. Or maybe I'm not very kind. But other people like Max Kaiser and I guess Chris Hedges and Michael Rupert and they might be doom scenario people, Mark Faber, but they're right. They say something that if you learn it once, you have something, you don't have to throw it away later because it's complete nonsense. And it doesn't really stress, I think, as well. Max Kaiser says silver is the solution because you basically are destroying the banking system. And you're destroying their myth because they have a myth, but they are exposed in the sense that silver is exposed. You can buy it, physical silver, you can take delivery, and then you can point out to other people that they cannot take delivery. See, there's a reality to it. There's a practical reality to buying silver in the Silver Liberation Army. There's a practical reality to saying, well, bankers should be tried. Bill Mayer said it. I saw a video that Stacey Herbert linked to on the Max Kaiser site. Bill Mayer explains that, of course, yeah, if bankers cause death, then maybe every now and then some of them should be put to death. It's a pyramid scheme, but it works the other way around. It's very effective. Anyway, so my scenario, my solution scenario would be martial law for the US as soon as possible, and then work camps to do what's necessary. And why? Well, because there's a point at which the Americans cannot buy what they need anymore, because the money that they use to do that doesn't represent any counter action. It doesn't represent anything of value that is given to the people that take that money. It only represents a burden to them, and people don't like burdens, so they won't accept the money anymore at a certain point. And then it's very harsh to have to suddenly do something practical, but on the other hand, it is basically one of the best things that can ever happen to people, because imagine how useful you will feel as a producer as opposed to a consumer. I think I made another video about it, but I don't know if I put it online. But consumption is really, it's an insult. You're a consumer. That's an insulting statement. And most people feel degraded by being called a consumer, but they're unwilling to admit it because it has benefits. So Alex Jones should not inoculate you against participating in freeing yourself from your uselessness and becoming more useful to yourself primarily and to the rest of the world secondarily. And this sounds all very arrogant, but really, it's the only way to move forward and survive as a planet is to become low carbon emission people. That means you have to eat plants, and that means that you have to generate a lot of energy using renewable sources, and in the meantime do stuff with your own body, because it's quite efficient to garden and to produce manually. And it's not necessary, but it's a result of mismanagement by the industry that it becomes necessary. So I don't mind if people in the industry get punished for completely destroying your country, and other people have been saying that, of course, and then you can call for, like, last thing I will say, because the battery is running low and this is a long video. Max Kaiser calls for the hanging of people. If you do that right now, it won't happen, and once the riot starts, you don't have to ask for it. We got our own Dutch history with Johan de Witt of the Witt brothers, which were lawmakers here in The Hague, and there's still a little stone in the pavement on the spot where they were ripped apart because they were untrustworthy, corrupt, and the enemy of the rest of Holland. And the people that ripped the ears and the fingers and the intestines out of these guys, they probably didn't intend to do that the morning they left to go to the Binnenhof, to our government center. They just did it. But let's hope that's unnecessary and that there is a resurgence of justice, which is also noticeable with the Coburn report. It's a very good attempt, and I would advise people in the legal system to tone down their requirements for salary and simply be an instrument to apply justice, and not be somebody that is completely leeching from the system. And to do that, to have less income requirements as a legal player in the system, they should first attack the banks, because the banks put them under pressure to make such money. Anyway, side issue. Have a good day, and go to Climate Babes and vote on the newest babes online.